Yeah, man, it's Worldwide Sounds Records own DJ Chase, man, on the pregame Party Mix podcast on 17 podcast networks, that YouTube, DJ Chase TV, on Dynasty Radio Monday nights, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Man, we global, we worldwide, man. We got the one, the only Shamarky Purcell, man.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
What's up, man? The Bay Area is in the building. Vallejo, what's up?
Hello, say back.
Nah, man. The actor extraordinaire, brother grinding out here. My podcast, I really stress for the entrepreneur, the hustle, the grind of black business, black entrepreneurs, and you definitely fit right into there.
I appreciate the positive energy, man. The good words of encouragement, man. I'm just trying to keep up with you, bro. That's all it is.
Listen. I'm trying, man. First and foremost, I do this as an icebreaker for all my guests, man. Tell the people who you are and what you do from your own words.
Right. Yeah, my name is Shamarky Purcell, as DJ Chase. So let you guys know, I'm an actor from the Bay Area. I specialize in theater work as well as commercial. As of late, I'm leaning more towards the theater side in the sense of TV and film, and just really going hard, really going strong, putting in the P's and Q's, studying hard, and just building up the resume, so to speak, one day at a time. Consistency is key.
Copy, man. Well, First and foremost, man, I want to give you flowers because your Instagram is popping, your social media is popping. You got the ladies going crazy.
Ooh, look at you flexing on me, man. He's trying to.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it. That's my job, man. And as we get started, California is a competitive city, just like New York. Being an African American is difficult in general. At first, you were an artist. You were a music artist, a hip hop artist. What made you transition from that to being an actor?
Ooh, so we going hard. We going right into the deeps.
I do.
I like that. Well, to be completely transparent and honest, it was a lack of a passion anymore. Like the passion that I used to have, it was gone. And I guess this is me not just being salty. The music industry is a very interesting place in the sense of it can make you really jaded. I was doing it for over 13 years, so
yeah.
I'm 18 years old and I was doing it, really hustling, really grinding at it. And, I was in a lot of situations where I was having meetings with Atlantic, with Def Jam, and it just, some of these situations didn't pan out because certain things weren't there, whether it was, following or this and the third, X, Y, and Z. But overall, my passions and my priorities began to shift because in my head, I was thinking, I was doing this initially because I genuinely loved it, right? It was a way for me to express myself. All those things lined up, so it made it never work. And when the work aspect started to overshadow the passion, the love for it, it became a job. And if you ever been to a job where you can't stand it, you're just going through the motions, clocking in another day, clocking in, and it became so monotonous and mundane to me that I'm just like, I'm doing this and I don't even like it anymore. Like it's so stressful. And so the thing about acting that made me kind of go towards that was I was always doing commercials on the side, but it was taking the back seat because the music was the initiative, because that's what I was passionate about. And then when I started to kind of realize I wasn't really feeling anymore, I started to put a little more energy into the acting in the commercials. And that started to pick up way more because I was already naturally getting them. I just wasn't putting the energy into it. A friend of mine, Edward Green, a director who gave me an opportunity to be a lead in a film of his that I just shot last year, coming out in May. He allowed me to kind of have my first role in film, right? Because I was just doing mainly commercials. That opportunity, it really kind of like, it was fresh, it was fun, it was new. And it made me feel like I didn't have to, pretend or fit a mold, so to speak, or have to go through like the loops or the hoops as music is. You have to fit a criteria, you have to look a certain way, act a certain way, you have to, all this stuff. So I was able just to be naturally myself. I was able to just to be, unapologetically, no stress, no worry, just create. And that was it. They just want you to create. There's no and ifs or buts. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, the same with the music. Like even with me, like I even me podcasting because I produce as well. I DJ and produce, of course. But the stress of being a podcast is like it's so I could just wake up, an interview. I could just do it. I could talk about whatever I want. I ain't got nobody nagging me. None of that, bro.
Exactly.
Word.
Relax for you.
Definitely. And what are some of the difficulties that we're gonna start like that. What are some of the difficulties that you face being an actor?
I mean, as of right now, I would say just figuring out how to traverse this whole COVID-esque scene, right? I feel like it has its pros and its cons. And the funny thing was, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying how you could see a positive in it if you look for it as well as a negative. Positive being it's opened up a lot of space for people in the sense of initially it used to be just like an open up lane where, you know, you can go in, do the auditions, X, Y, and Z. But once COVID hit, it put a lot of things to a halt. And so those traditional avenues that you might have had initially were closed off. And so since people didn't know what else to look for, they all just kind of fell back and just kind of waited, for lack of better words, right? And it gave like hustlers, people who really knew how to like look and figure it out and like work the corners. It gave us an opportunity to stand on out and to outshine and to kind of get ahead of the pack. Because now we're like, the whole COVID thing isn't going to stop us. Now we can figure out how to like network on Instagram or like figure out how to like still shoot with COVID going, X, Y, and Z. That's the pro. The con is, you know, me being also a traditional person in the sense that I was the kind of guy where I was used to going and meeting people face to face, right? Shaking hands, networking in that sense. Yeah. So if you cut that out, and that's what I'm good at, I'm like, wait a minute. wait. And so it kind of put a little bit of a hamper because now I had to figure out how to really like navigate this now online social media kind of vibe, you know what I'm saying? But it's like one door closes, another opens. It just depends on how you take the time to sit down and try to figure it out and not let it get you down and beat you up.
Copy, man. And do you feel like now like things are opening up, like with the vaccine and stuff like that? Do you feel like it's going to be a little easier to get auditions now, or do you feel like it's going to be like flooded with actors and things like that?
I feel like honestly, it's probably, even with the vaccine, it might kind of go back to normal to a certain extent, but I feel like a lot of the new wave is a lot of people are starting to realize how convenient and easy it is to do things online. Like, you know, a lot of these casting directors, right? They used to have to sit in a room and wait for like 20, 30, 40 people throughout the day to come in. Yeah. They would just send an email to like 5,000 people. And then 5,000 people can send them back an audition tape and they can just sit there and look at it. And if they say, we don't like it, scroll to the next. And that takes no energy, no effort, no time from you, you know?
Copy. Yeah, man. And this is a question I've always wanted to ask somebody, and especially because I'm a movie head. Like I watch movies all day long. That's all I do is watch movies. You know, they cast in the same black actors. I'm gonna say that. Do you feel like the black clique? I'd say the popular club. Do you feel like that opens up the lane? Like why they don't make different kind of movies? Like they pick the same actors, but they make the same kind of movies. They don't pick different actors. They don't make different movies. Do you feel like that the popular club, like the Michael B. Jordans, the Lakeiths, the Daniel Kaluuya, do you feel like that creates that paradox for them to keep making the same type of movies?
I feel like yes and no, right? I feel like yes, in the sense of, you know, if it's not broke, why fix it? It's the same way why if Kendrick Lamar knows this is his sound, why am I going to switch up my sound? This is what makes me, this is what people like. So make what people want to hear, feed the consumer, but knowing the same time, because I feel like with that in mind, they're probably first building up their foundation, their core fan base by saying, this is what we can do. Now, once you guys are solidified and you feel comfortable with this, we're going to start to give you a little bit more. Like I forgot his name, like the dude who was like Key and Peele, right? We knew him at first as just a comedian. Like he used to just make the skits. And now he's like, now that I got my fan base, you guys all like me now, right? So if I try something else, it's not like I have to fish for brand new people. I already have my fan base who's now going to travel with me to see what I'm about. So when he started to make whole new stuff like, you know, Get Out or Us and this and the third, it's like, okay, now I'm able to see it from a different perspective, but we were already rocking with you from the jump. So we're able to receive it better versus if you were a brand new person and we had no relationship with you. You know what I'm saying?
Copy.
That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, because as you said, I'm a huge movie person. Like all I do is watch movies. I haven't watched TV in a long time. I got a long time and I watch movies. You know, I know you because you're still a new actor because you've been doing music. Do you feel like, how should I say this? Like the stereotypical roles, right? When you get those scripts and you get those, because you do more commercial work now to pay the bills, of course. But do you feel like you have to do something? You might have to take it on the chin one time or another to just get into the door to the A-list crowd?
I think it depends, right? I think to say no would be ignorant of me. But I feel like to say to a certain extent, like that's one of those moments where we're gonna come across those times and say, is this a worthwhile, you know, hit on the chin sacrifice, so to speak, to help better me, right, to get me to a different position. Because I'm not just gonna do some shit like some nigga. My bad. Yeah, I'm not just gonna do some wild out of pocket stuff and just dress up crazy. That's completely against the person I'm trying to represent or the person I'm trying to tell the people who I am, the image I'm trying to. I'm not gonna do something wild like that. But if it's a role that's like, yeah, this is going to be a significant opportunity for me to kind of get into a higher position, but it's not going to compromise me to the extent where if I wake up, I'm like, damn, I feel like a sucker. Then I'm like, okay, that's what you got to take in consideration. Because I'm real big on like, if I can't sleep at night, I'm not going to
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
Copy. And for my listeners, I know you're the first like actual actor that I know. What's a like an acting audition like? What is that like?
An audition, honestly, bro, it's pretty straightforward. So majority of the time, I'm gonna give it to you if you go into an actual audition as opposed to like if you get it online. Either one, they both start out the same way. They give you a notice and they say, hey, we like what you did, because it'll normally be like some website. You'll check the website, or if they like you and you have an agency, they'll just go straight to your agency. But if you get this notice, they'll say, hey, this is the role that we had in mind. We liked your submission, or we liked, we saw you from your agency and we wanted to reach out to you. This is the role. This is what we want you to do. Give us like a quick audition tape of who you are. Let us see your slate, which is pretty much like you're looking straightforward, your side views, profiles and stuff like that. And then you do the performance that they want you to do, whether it's like a quick excerpt from a scene, or for commercials, they just want you to smile and act presentable depending on what the role entails, right?
Yeah.
When that happens, you get it, you edit it up, and then you send it over to them and you send it to your agency, or you can just send it directly to the email that they give to you, and then they'll let you know whether or not they rock with you or not.
Copy. Yeah, exactly. And because my show is dedicated to education. So like, my next question too is in a sense, because, with me, I'm big on entrepreneurship that we talked about. I'm big on ownership. How come you feel like a lot of actors just, they don't make their own movies? You know what I'm saying? As opposed to having to go to the audition. Like, what I'm saying? Why don't they just like say, you know what? Let's pool together what we got and do our own production company, our own, its cameras are cheap now. It's not like the 80s or the early 90s. I can say that. But we have the technology now. How come you feel like a lot of actors just don't do it themselves?
That's a very interesting question. See, that's a good question. Honestly, I feel like maybe it's a matter of two things. Yeah. One, pride, people saying, I want to do it my way. I want to be the one to create the avenue how I want to see it. I don't want to have too many hands in the pot, so to speak. Or maybe it's even just a matter of time, or lack of being on the same page. Maybe someone else is doing this and you're doing that, and maybe we might have a general idea of what we want to do, but because we're on two different paths, we might not be able to get to a point where we can meet in the middle and necessarily get the job done. Like, for example, I'm shooting a series in like a week in Texas, and I have a homie who's shooting something in LA. We've been talking about doing a podcast, but our schedules, it just ain't happening. Yeah. So like, all of these things come into play as well. But at the same time, it's like if somebody wants to get something done, I'm sure they'll figure out the time. But yeah, I want to be like later on, I want to sit and think about this and then DM you the response and be like, this is what I really meant to say, because you caught me off the back and I couldn't really get something good. So let me just
you know what, because like because you like the way you approach, like I follow you on Instagram, so I'm like, okay, he's hustling his movie career. Definitely, like, I'm very sure it's easy to you now. Music is probably, film is probably super easy to you because the hustle and bustle of everything that you learned in music. Right. So I'm always like in my head, I'm like, because me and my cousin have this discussion all the time. And I'm like, why don't more Black people just say, you know what, let's just make our own company, because the movie's a little cheaper now. You know what I'm saying? The editing software is way cheaper now. Let's just do it ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But I know when that bag comes around, it's like, all right.
See, this can get real deep. This can get deep.
We here for it.
Yeah, that can get real deep, because you could say the same question in regards to just like overall things in the community, right? Yeah. Like schooling systems or like healthcare systems or things of that nature. Yeah. Why don't we come together and help one another out. And you could almost even say maybe it's just like we've been conditioned via the country that we live in to not have that come togetherness, for lack of better words. We've been conditioned to be so isolated, to be so me first in a country that essentially like rewards you to be a capitalist, right? They reward you to say, I'm the one who's going to make it for myself. I'm going to pave my path. We don't live in a country that promotes unity, that promotes we live in a country the I, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like that mindset also, I feel like might come into play, you know, everyone's an entrepreneur. No one wants to be a company, a business. Everyone wants to be Jeff Bezos, but no one wants to be the actual Amazon company. And
okay, so it's not just me, because once again, I told you I have these conversations. I get so like even with me with Judas and the Black Messiah, right? I was I felt the way about the movie. I felt the way.
I haven't seen it yet. So what you think? How you feeling?
I felt it was a good movie. I felt the way the actors did a damn good job. Right. I just felt the way they tried to portray Fred Hampton, because it made Fred Hampton look like he was kind of begging as opposed to who the real Fred Hampton was. Right. So, and then also too, I just felt like it changed a lot of stuff to the story too, because it made like, I mean, I know it's Judas in the Black Messiah, but it's just in the sense of Fred Hampton would not want that story told. Like if the real Fred Hampton, I'm like, you know, and now you from the Bay. The Bay is the hustle. Vallejo, Mac Dre. You know what I'm saying? It does it. So you guys created independent hip hop. You guys created independent, even pimping, all the way down to pimping. you guys created created it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you do a lot of commercial work. My listeners are you know, I have a wide range of listeners. Do you take that independent hustle of the Bay and apply it to the movie industry, the film industry?
Absolutely. I feel like one of the first things you learn in the Bay Area is you learn how to figure out how to get it. You learn. I mean, if you're not a sucker, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Like either you're gonna figure it out or you're gonna be taken advantage of. That's just how it is. So it's just like rather be on the other end than the other one. So it's just better figure it out. So it's just like for me, I figured out what my niche was, and I just really like perfected the craft of my niche, you know, my mouthpiece, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to converse with people, knowing how to like, you know, network and all that stuff. Cause it's just like, you'd be surprised how few people understand how much of a skill it is to talk to people. Definitely. Like talk skill, not just saying words, but actively having a conversation. That means talking, listening, giving feedback, X, Y, and Z, keeping that dialogue going. Like that's a skill. Yeah. And this is like, learn how to perfect it, you'd be surprised how many different ways you can interact with people and how you can get people to like, you know, feel comfortable, this, and the third, and just have dialogue. Not to say that I'm over here like finessing people, not at all. But it's just that when you understand that you're in a circumstance where you need to figure out how to get out and how to make stuff pop off, you will figure out how to make it pop off.
You have to. That's called survival. That's coming from. See me, I'm from the Bronx. The Bronx is a lot like Vallejo. Like it's crazy because I signed my first distribution deal with a company in San Diego. So I know, like I never,
Gotta give you your props too, real quick.
From the Bronx. So you know, and one of the things I want to ask you too is what's a good route for an actor to go? Should they go into, let's say, like what's the career path? So basically, like, should an actor go to a big studio or should an actor just like go independent with it? Like the path.
Well, in the sense of
I'm sorry, a path in terms of the goal of it. So like, what's the goal? Should they attain the studio contract, or they should attain like, you know what? I got the buzz now. Now I should make my own movies.
I mean, because here's the funny thing. I don't think there's ever anything wrong with like the big name, because it's completely different from how music is in the sense of the independent route and then the major label route. Because the major labels, their whole goal is to screw you over, 360 deals. So that's why that has its stigma, and that independent is looked at and so glorified. But in acting, at least from the interactions I've had and just from doing research, you don't get that type of vibe. It's more so like we're about business. And that's one of the things that I really liked about acting, and why I really transitioned. What caught my attention was that their paperwork. It's like, we're not here to finesse. We're not here to play games. We're not here to this. Because when I tell you cats are out there trigger happy with the sue button, they will sue you to death. They will
in Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is at the drop of a hat because they don't play about their money. And that's why I'm like, you got to respect that, because they're saying our time is valuable, our energy is valuable. So if you don't come prepared and serious about your stuff and you try to finesse, we're not going to play that game. We're not going to fight you for what? We're going to get you in these courts, run that bag up, and you're going to be back on the streets, you know, being a bum. So it's like, and I guess to me, to a certain extent, like, you know, with music, it's like the Wild Wild West. You know, people can finesse you. You can get finessed. It's all this stuff. There's really no rules or regulations until you get to like the top. But all in between, anything can go. You know what I'm saying? But for acting, it's like there's structure. There's a set. They're like, hey, we got rules and we abide by it. And I like that to a certain extent, because I'm like, hold someone accountable, because you're like, I'm not going to be going around, bro, at 30 years old fighting people. Like, what are we doing? Like, hey, if you owe me something, I'm not going to pull up on you and be like, put your hands up. Like, no, it's going to be like, hey, look, either you owe me or we can do this legally, because I'm not doing all that other stuff. So with that being said, I would say either route is fine, because it comes down to what your goal is, what you're passionate about, right? If you want to get that major name stuff, then by all means do the major name stuff. If you just want to do like small indie films or like independent films because you feel like that's more artistic, then do that. But the thing is, there's freedom all across the board for either route, and there's no like issue for any of those options. Either option can get you a better result nonetheless. So it's like none of them can go bad for you. It's just one can, I guess, more opportunity, but they both will only serve to do you better.
Got you. And you've done a wide range of commercials. You've done from Cash App to Honda. Like, your resume is crazy, bro. Like, your you know, with that commercial revenue, because that's a lane in itself. Because the whole goal of my interview with you is definitely like correlate the two, and to correlate that independent hustle. Because to me, I respect you more than I hate to say this. I respect you a lot more than some people that's famous, because when I'm reading behind you, you telling a story. You have a path to your story, because that's how Brad Pitt started. He started in a ketchup commercial. So I know. I know my acting.
Put it work right now. I see you play.
Yeah. So, you know, you definitely your transitioning is really good.
Thank you.
Now that income, that's another form of money. How is that commercial income? Is it now? Because to me, I want to get into single licensing. That's what I want to do. That commercial money. How was that? That's good money, right?
Yeah.
The commercial is good. Right?
I would definitely say, it pays the bills. Here's the thing for me, right? And I'm I'm feeling the vibes, man. And I read this book by Robert Kiyosaki. It was called Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And he said something that was really dope to me, that stuck with me since when I read it when I was like 20. He said, a millionaire or a rich person has 7 different streams of revenue, 7 different streams of income. That means your regular job, and then 6 other things that you're doing, that when you wake up, if you don't have to go to work, you have money still coming in that can get you bread. And I love that idea. And so every time I used to go out and hustle, I was like, I need to get 6 different ways. And if I'm not going to work today, if I just says, F it, hypothetically speaking, I'm tired, I'm going. I have 6 different ways to still get bread that can get me through the day or get me through the month. And so that commercial money, when I tell you it's solid, it's solid, my guy. Ooh. It is solid.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it works in tandem with me, because when I told you about, like, one of my skills was like, I started working on my networking, my conversation skills. And it's like the big thing, like how it is for you, I'm sure, with the music thing. Like we understand networking is key. Networking is key.
I got my entertainment lawyer from networking. So I got exactly. And I knew a little Jewish man I met at a networking event. So
there you go. And that's literally how it is. You go in there, you introduce yourself, you have conversation, and you figure out how you guys can help one another out, how you could be an asset, X, Y, and Z. And you just build that up. And the next thing you know, you got people who you did a commercial with who said, oh, I remember dude, solid personality, good work ethic, this, that, and the third. I'm going to bring him back. And now that one commercial that you did maybe last month got you 3 commercials in 1 month, and maybe each one pays you like $800 or a band each. You just got your done in 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
So
now
in
the pocket.
Copy. So I want to ask this now. Do you get royalties from commercials? Or movies? Do you get royalties from both?
Not yet, because I haven't gotten anything called it's called a nationally syndicated commercial, right? That's like one of those big commercials like Geico you'll see playing on TV all over the country. I've done like small stuff that's like, you might see like in a specific city or like online or on a billboard, stuff like that. But when you get those nationally syndicated commercials, they'll say stuff like, you'll get royalties, perpetuity, X, Y, and Z for like X amount of years, maybe like 50% of what you initially would have made per every time it spins. Wow. So it's like 4 or 5 times in a day, and they're saying you get maybe 40% of like a $30,000 check that they would have gave you. That means every time it comes, you getting damn near what, 10, 3, 30,
yeah,
3 bands.
3 bands up every time it play. Yeah,
every time it spins. So it's just
that's crazy.
That's crazy. That's the type of stuff like when you see the guy, right, or the chick who does Flow, the girl with the laser gun, the Flow girl. That's what that is. Nationally syndicated. She doesn't have to act. She doesn't need to be an actress because that pays her bills stupid much.
So that's why my man, he don't even do, all he do is Allstate commercials. He don't even do nothing else. Got you. Makes sense. When I told my girl, I said I never seen him act in my life. I never seen a single movie my man's been in.
He
did Love and Basketball. That was the last movie he did.
But it's just like you couldn't even say anything else.
Couldn't say nothing else.
Go in your head is just like that's the Allstate guy because he's like, oh, I don't need to do anything else.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. So when you breaking into acting, what's the route to go? Should you go to acting classes or you should just go raw like an agency?
No.
Acting classes?
Absolutely. Because here's the thing. This is what's going to happen. This is what I had to figure out because I had to learn this the hard way. So first and foremost, agents, they're not nice. They're not trying to be nice. They're not trying to be your friend. They're like, this is a business. If you aren't worth marketing, don't hit me in my DMs or don't send me no dusty email or resume about what you want to do, where you see yourself. If you can't show me, prove to me what you can do and what you have done, why should I then just take it upon myself that you can make me money when I don't know what you're capable of, right? It's like somebody who says, I'm playing the NBA, but you never played a game in your life. Why should I just assume you're good? You haven't shown me you're good. So take the acting classes straight up. You got to take acting classes like on camera, which teaches you how to act on camera. Scene study, which teaches you how to like read a script, how to understand a character. You know what I'm saying? Or like character development, which teaches you how to create that character. All those things, you throw it on a resume. And then when you create yourself and you know how to like work that muscle and say, okay, when someone says scene, I know how to get into that character. I know how to be this person. And then now with that in mind, with that understanding, then you can start looking for like small films because you won't get a big film off rip if they don't know who you are. So you start small. You maybe even go for like school plays or theater plays or like some low budget thing that the homies making. Just say, let me act in there. And then once you do a couple of those, you get a good number of reels, a good number of footage where you're like, oh, I did good in each one of these scenes. You put it together, make a reel, which is going to have all the best qualities of your work. And then when you have that and you feel comfortable and maybe a couple other stuff in your belt where you can put on your resume and say, I did this on this. Then you want to submit it to an agency and say, hey, look what I'm capable of. This is me in my best scenes. This is some of the stuff. Get some headshots so they see what you look like, so you can say how you can market yourself.
Yeah.
And then look at it, and if they like it, they'll hit you back. And if not, you keep that grind up again.
Yeah. So now, because I'm in the East Coast, the East Coast ain't no love. They ain't got no love for the East Coast no more. Now, how is it? Because how do you get into them doors, bro? Because I've been trying to. I want to do sync licensing, and I have to ask you this: Do you want to transition and get in? Because now, and I have to ask this. I don't want to touch on it too much for you.
Ask me the question.
Okay. So, do you want to do you eventually plan on getting some of your old music into films?
Honestly, the funny thing is, man, that's what I was initially doing at one point. I stopped doing music, and I got to a point where I was just like, I'm just going to do licensing. Like, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Literally, it makes more sense because it's like you get the majority of the profit. You don't get the headache. You don't get the grind, the hard work of being an artist. Like, why am I doing all that? You can stay behind the scenes. You can still stay anonymous, and you can get the majority of the money right there. Yeah. And then you can start to find other avenues that tie into that, like songwriting and stuff like that. So it's just like, that's a good option. And if you want, bro, I'll link you up with who I was working with.
Listen, we'll talk off air, bro. Because I signed up with a company. Actually, last year I did a deal with a company that does it, musicsupervisor.com. Because I'm on the East Coast, so it's hard to they ain't no music supervisor in New York. And it's so racist over here. Do you find yourself now? I want to touch on that. Do you find yourself dealing with a lot of racism in the business?
I mean, lucky for me, bro, I haven't come across it. Thank God, because I'm hoping maybe this will give you some time to work on that. But honestly, not really. It's just as of now, maybe because I'm also in the Bay Area, bro. So it's just like a melting pot of different cultures, creeds, and ethnicities. So I don't know what it's like. Maybe being in Hollywood, I have no idea. I just go out there here and there for like small projects, and I come right back home. So
you do all your work in on the Bay. Well, you
No, no,
acting
no.
work?
I travel back and forth.
Oh, back and forth. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But if I got to fly out or drive out, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. It's like 5 hours away, so it's nothing. But as of yet, bro, it's just good vibes. It's good energy. It's good people. It's just people who just want to create. And so when you have like-minded individuals who want to create and just make something dope, they're not worried about what you look like, what you sound like. They're just like, can you get the job done? And yes or no. Simple as that. You know?
Copy, man. Copy, man. And I want to give you your flowers because it's hard out here. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's tough for everybody. And I tell people all the time because I do business and I'm like, listen, no one has any money after COVID. No, all in the East Coast, everything is even downtown and midtown. All the stuff is boarded up. There's no businesses nowhere. So I want to give you your flowers. And I have to ask this: what is your main career goal? Do you want to stick in the lane of just doing commercials? Or do you want to just want to be big as possible?
So my goal is this: like I have a vision board on my wall, right?
Yeah.
And I have two whiteboards and I have a vision board. And on my vision board, I have the overall goal, and I have two whiteboards that I dedicate. One whiteboard is for short-term goals. One whiteboard is for long-term goals. My short-term goals might be like, okay, book 3 commercials in a month. You know what I'm saying? Get 1 lead role by the end of the year. And my long-term goal might be like retire from my 9 to 5 within the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And for me, my overall goal is I did a lot of research on certain actors that I like, but the hustle and the overall end goal that I respected and I loved the most from 2 specific actors now, right? One was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Sounds crazy, but he went from a WWF wrestler, bruh.
Yeah,
he made
the highest grossing actor of the world.
Grossing actor in all of Hollywood. He makes over $300 million in a year. That means you did better than Denzel, Will Smith, Brad Pitt, all of these like known, amazing Hollywood actors and actresses. And you were a wrestler. That means your hustle was so nasty that you said, F the adversity, F the naysayers, F the no's, this, that, and the third. I'm going to stick to my path. I'm going to make it work, figure it out. So I did my research on him. And I was like, I like how he went about it. I like his trajectory. I like what he was doing. I'm going to take what he did that worked, incorporate it to mine, and like finesse my stuff. And then the same thing with Kevin Hart. He came from a situation where he was like low income neighborhoods, impoverished, no pops, X, Y, and Z. And I watched his documentaries and I was like, okay, I can do it. Like if I have no excuse, you know what I'm saying? There's no excuse. Both of these individuals had damn near nothing. You know what I'm saying? They were at the bottom of the barrel, scraping just to try to figure it out. And they now are arguably the most, the most known, recognized, figures within the Hollywood industry. So it's like anything's possible. So I use those as like my go-tos when I say, this is where I want to go. That's the overall objective. And then I can retire somewhere in fucking Spain or some shit and just chill out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely tell you, you're on the same trajectory as Kevin Hart, because Kevin Hart started with the music first. His first movie was Paper Soldiers. So you're like, you're you right there, bro. So trust me, it's his first, and I watch Paper Soldiers all the time. I had to start watching it. You know what I'm saying? I had to start watching it. So and do you ever want to build your own studio? Do you want to eventually like have your own, like a Will Power Packer, or like a Tyler Perry? You ever want to eventually have your own studio?
You know what was funny? The production studio wasn't something that I ever thought about because I never really thought about acting like that until maybe like 3-4 years ago. I was just doing it like, as a side to get some. But it was the music thing that I really wanted to do. I wanted to have my own record label and then like have artists under my roster that I would then just like promote and then like do all that stuff with. I was trying to be like the next Jay-Z and then branch out into other like streams of revenue. That was my whole mindset. Probably still is if I come back around to it, but I wouldn't be opposed to opening up a production company if it made sense.
Got you, man. And I have to ask this for my producers out there. How does one getting to the door, not just networking, like how does one get into doing sync? How did he get into the sync world? How does that work?
Well, me, I came about it because I did a lot of research, and a homie of mine, we went out to South by Southwest. And I know a lot of people might not really like think about it like that, but whenever they have situations where it's like a gathering or some sort of like festival where you have music, acting, whatever the case is, and it's a networking experience, you need to be there, period. You need to be there. Every time South by Southwest came back around, and this was like maybe 3 years ago when I went to that one. I forgot what year it was, but 3 years back, 21, 19, so like 17, 18. My math is trash. 2018, right?
Time is flying, that's why.
Time is flying, right? 2018, South by Southwest. I went out there with a homie of mine, Derek Freeman, and we were out there for like a week and some change. And all we did was print up flyers, print out business cards, hand them out. Go to these little seminars, listen to people, shake hands, kiss babies, hand out a business card, this, that, and the third. And when I tell you, like, maybe out of like 1,000 business cards I probably passed out, probably only got response back in emails probably for like 5, 6. But I didn't trip. I wasn't even tripping. I was just like, I don't care. One is all you need to make the difference. One. And I was like, as far as I'm concerned, bro, my shooting average is amazing. If this is the case, if I got one, my shooting average is impeccable. So that's all it was. I just went to South by Southwest, and I just did a lot of networking, met with this amazing company by the name of Alibi Music Group, and we linked up. I sent them some of my music. They were huge fans. And then I said, hey, I can create some content if you want. Just started songwriting and started creating some stuff for them, and I just started shopping it off to the library. Then they submitted to shows, films, commercials, X, Y, and Z, and the rest is history. But it's just man. You gotta just take that leap. A lot of people, 9 times out of 10, they overthink it and they get in their head and they go, oh man, maybe next time, or I don't need to go there. Man, any opportunity that someone else isn't gonna take, you need to take, because that's gonna give you a one-up. You don't want to be doing what everybody else is doing. You want to be the one who's able to say, I'm going to do the stuff that no one else wants to do, because then that's going to get me the heads up that no one else is willing to do,
Copy, man. And my last and final question of the evening, man. We could do this all night, bro. You're such a dope individual, bro. Do you have any advice for any young Black actors that wanna something that you may have like wish somebody would have told you when you first started?
Make a company. Make a sole proprietorship, a DBA, whatever. And you can do that as simply as going to a bank and saying, I'm going to open up a business account, and then just make a business account. Because what you're going to do is you're going to spend a lot of money. Facts. I spend a lot of money on headshots or photos or traveling or, wardrobes, whatever the case may be for acting, and even for my music. But the dope thing is when you get older, you realize you can cash all that back when it comes to tax season and write it all off and say, this was for work. Because what you're doing is work. You're in work for yourself. So when you go back into your cash person or your tax person, you say, hey, this is what I did for the year. Keep a nice little book. I got a nice little book every month, man. Collect all my information, put it all in there, mileage, X, Y, and Z. If I finish a commercial, I send out an invoice. Thank you for your time. So that's proof. When it comes tax season, I'm looking forward to this year, because I'm like, boy, let me tell you, 2020, I was working. And so that's what I would say. Always think about it from a business, because it's entertainment, it's love, it's dope, you enjoy it, but it's a business. And the best thing about a business is once you put in that work and you build that foundation, it'll start making money for you. You got to think about it how like a lot of these rich folks think about it. Everything they do it from a business perspective. They write off all their stuff because they never waste their money. We out here wasting our own money. You got to figure out how to use the system the same way everyone else knows how to use the system. You got to be smart about it. So yeah, go into a bank, get an LLC, a DBA, start running your stuff all through that. So that way you can write it off as a check, put it right back in your bank account, do it again.
And then you have it, man. Brother, thank you so much, bro. Do you have anything? What's the newest project we should look for?
Yeah, well, the film that's coming out by the big brother Edward Green is called Pick a Side. It's coming out hopefully sometime in May. Super dope. That was my lead role, breakout film, and I have a couple of other series now that I'm starting to record soon. This month, gonna be in Texas, like I said. So it's just follow me on Instagram at IamLRUCUS. Stay in tune, because man, half the time when you find out stuff, I'll find out stuff in the same day, and I'll post and let y'all know what's going on. But it's a fun journey. I'm on it. I want y'all to be on it with me, and to stay in touch, stay tuned, and let's just have conversations. I always respond back.
There you go, my guy, Mr. Purcell. I'm gonna call him Mr. Purcell because Shamarky's too dope of a name. He's too famous. He didn't think I was gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? I got it, man. Thank you so much, brother. I had a lot of fun on this interview. You actually taught me a lot. Don't hang up, man. We're gonna chop it up after this, man. It's DJ Chase, the Pregame Party Mix podcast on 17 podcast networks, on Dynasty Radio Monday nights 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on that YouTube, DJ Chase TV. And we independent, going for #1 urban podcast out there. So you know how it goes, man. DJ Chase is the Pregame Party Mix podcast. Gia.
It's Official. Come on. Locked in with DJ Chase on the Pregame Party Mix Podcast.